Hi everyone, this is Tim from Ring Squad, doing Yes, No, Maybe So for Wrestlemania Night 2, or Part 2. WWE.com refers to it as Part 2, I like to say Night 2, whatever whatever floats. It's Yes, No, Maybe So for those of you who may not have seen other videos, which is weird why you're watching Part 2 when there's Part 1, but hey, maybe you like Star Wars or Tarantino movies and like to just start at the end and then go back. You do you. But it is WrestleMania Part 2, and for those of you who don't know, yes, no, maybe, so, works like this. I give every video a yes, no, maybe, or so. Yes means it was great, everything went well, the story was good, the match was good, everything checked all the boxes. No means, there was something wrong, maybe like a good match, wrong result, foreshadowing, or maybe just a bad match, but like, good result, but bad match. Something just didn't quite hit. Maybe means there's something there, and it's kind of like it was good, but want to see where it goes. Or maybe they just needed to add a little bit, And so, so what? Like, nothing happened. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't do anything for anyone. It just kind of happened. So that's what so means. So that is my criteria. We're just going to get right into it. So to start off, we start off with the NXT Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. That just sounds weird to say. On WrestleMania Night 2, the NXT Women's Championship was defended. But this gets a no, mainly for the result. It was a good match. A lot of psychological stuff. Rhea got some good offense in the beginning, but then she hit her knee, or Charlotte chop blocked her. That's what happened, and then she targeted the knee the whole time. Rhea did get some kicks in, and it was a good solid match. I think it was probably 15 minutes. But the whole story was the leg being injured. My roommate got worked. He was like, I think she's actually injured. And me and my other roommate were like, no, she was seriously injured. They would have called the match by now. But hey, that just means kayfabe's still alive to some people. It's good. It gets a no because Charlotte ended up winning with the figure 8. She did the figure 4 and the figure 8. And I don't think Charlotte needs this title. And Rhea didn't. She won it in December right before Christmas. And then she only had 1 or 2 defenses of it. And then she lost to Charlotte. And I know Charlotte's good, but where do you go from here? And I'll touch on what happened later in the show about why someone else is involved in the NXT women's match either. Women's picture, I should say. So Charlotte doesn't need this belt. They're just hot shotting belts onto her to get her up to that 16 mark of Ric Flair. Right, so of her dad, but she has a week, in 2016 when she ping-ponged with Sasha Banks, she had 4 reigns in 2 months, and now she's on NXT, but it's kind of just she already beat, what's her face, Bianca Belair on TV, and now she beat Rhea for the title, and it's kind of who she gonna beat? Push Candice LeRae, but it, but it just who's there. I mean, Tegan's there. I guess Tegan can make a run if they push Io back again, but Shayna's is on Raw now, so no Shayna, no. I guess Rhea is still in there. Maybe the story is she comes back, but it's just a no. Have Rhea go over. You would think they learned from 2 years ago with Asuka. You lost the unbeaten streak from Asuka, and everybody hated it. You would think they would learn from 2 years ago, but who am I to think WWE can learn? So it's a no. We're starting off WrestleMania Part 2 with a no. The next match is Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. This gets a. Can I combine yes and so? Can I get a yes so? It was good. It was kind of thrown together, and it was actually a solid match. I honestly expected a squash because I expect Black's gonna be pushed to the moon. But it was a good match. There wasn't much story just besides 2 guys fighting, which is sometimes a good story. Just 2 guys fighting. And it was, Bobby got some good offense in, and he's actually got he wore Aleister Black down. He did get a few good moves in. He did the typical, knee strikes and kicks and stuff. And then Bobby Lashley set up, Lana was with Bobby Lashley, by the way. See, threw myself off. Hashtag professional. He lifted Black up for a Dominator, and then Lana got on the ramp and was like, no, do a spear instead. And then he was like, okay. So he threw Black down into the corner, went back into the spear, and did the spear setup. And then as he speared, Black did a Black Mass. That's a Black Mass, apparently. And just pinned them 1, 2, 3. And it was, I liked it because Black Mass, first of all, it's a great move. He does it so quick and fierce that it's a little more than just a spinning heel kick. It's like, oh shit. And he did it so fast that it didn't look clunky. You know, sometimes reversing a spear with anyone, you know, you kind of have to have the right setup, you know, unless you like do it into a pin, like a cradle or like a DDT or just a kick, you know, you kind of have to maneuver your way to hit a different move, and it takes a while. This one actually, Bobby Lashley was like 3/4 of the way, and Black timed it absolutely perfectly. But it's a yes, but it's a 90 for those of you who know what that means. You know, it's on a scale of 90 to 100. If that's a yes, it's a 90. I mean, it does make Aleister Black look good, and it somewhat protects Lashley of saying maybe there's a rift between him and Lana, and Rusev can come back, please. But it didn't feel like a WrestleMania match. It felt like a B pay-per-view mid-card match. But hey, props to Black for getting a WrestleMania win, so that's cool. Match 3 is Otis versus Dolph Ziggler, and all of this gets a yes. Just all of it. It adds some storyline with the Glitcher. Is that his name now? The Glitcher. The truth will be revealed. Revealed Sonya was behind the Mandy fake text to Otis on Valentine's Day, and it's actually a little bit of solid 2-month booking because that was Valentine's Day, and that led into this match. So Ziggles came out with Sonya Deville as his manager, which is okay, no explanation, just 2 days later. And then their manager, Dolph really hyped it up. For what he is, he's a pretty solid performer. He was doing the poses, he was doing the jacket, like showing off his abs, he was doing the pyro sounds with his mouth. There wasn't pyro on this night because they're in the Performance Center, it's so small. But so they did it, and the match was good for what it was. If it was just a match, it probably would have gotten a so, but the overall story makes it a yes. Sonya hit Otis with a low blow, because I think Sonya, I think, distracted the ref, and Dolph hit Otis with a low blow. He, like, flat out kicked him, too, not even, like, a arm, and, you know, they hit the elbow. It was just a flat out, like, kick to the groin. So Otis kind of no-sold it. He tough-sold it, if that's it is now. I'm making a new tough sold it. He didn't like and go down. He like tensed up, and then he kind of went down. So he kind of like tough sold it. But then Ziggler was about to get the win, and Mandy Rose's music hit. She comes out, confronts Sonya Deville, slaps her across the face, beats her up a little bit, and then distracts the ref. I forget I think Ziggler was distracting the ref, or Sonya was distracting the ref somehow. Like, the ref was checking on Sonya. Yeah, the ref was checking on Sonya. Sorry, I'm doing this video like 12 hours later. I probably should have done it like right after the show, but I was tired. And I had stuff to do. The ref was checking on Sonya. Mandy Rose slid into the ring, low-blowed Ziggler, and then got back out and got on the ramp to be like, hey, yeah, I didn't do anything. And then he went down. Otis did the worm, and then he went, and then hit the elbow, so the caterpillar. And then 1, 2, 3, he won. Mandy Rose got in, and they were celebrating. They hugged each other, and then he brought her up, and then they kissed. Otis kissed. Otis and Mandy, couple goals. Mandy. Mose. Mose from The Office. I don't know what their couple name. Otis Rose. Mandy. Andy. Modus. We'll figure it out. Comment below what their couple name should be. But it's great because it's a good story. Happy ending. It's WrestleMania. I predicted that this was going to be a typical, face over heel mid-card like happy-go-lucky win, Wrestlemania tries to put in there, and it was great. And it was great. The overall story: Otis got the girl, he got Mandy. The bad guy lost. We'll see what happened with the glitcher if he moves on to a different story or if he's involved somehow. So that kind of left that end open. It's Ali, but I like saying the glitcher. So maybe he goes from storyline to storyline. That'd be pretty interesting. We'll see what happens there. But Otis versus Ziggles. Right, Tucker never came out. Tucker was injured on SmackDown, so he never came out. So they sold that part of the storyline. Just overall, it was just a solid job. Like like how are you going to complain about Otis, who is the greatest human ever, getting Mandy Rose? I do. So it's a yes. It's overall yes. Next match was Edge versus Randy Orton, last man standing, and this gets a yes. But it doesn't get a yes. It gets a solid yes. It gets like a 95 on the scale of 90 to 100. It gets like a 95. It just ran long. I didn't realize how long it ran until I watched some other videos about this, and apparently it ran 40 minutes, and it's the longest match behind the Iron Man match in WrestleMania history. So that's kind of crazy to do that, but this is one match that absolutely benefited from no audience because they weren't counting and trying to get the sums over every single count. And it's also planned out pretty perfectly too. Except, like I said, it ran a little long. If it was like 30 minutes, it was pretty good. And of course, last man standings have 10 counts, so you add up the 10 counts to like 2 counts in a regular match. It adds up over time. Probably added like another 5 or 10 minutes, but it's the way the match is. Randy Orton was disguised as a cameraman, which was actually pretty clever. There's nobody in the audience, and he just still disguised himself as a cameraman. And just probably thinking, well, yeah, there's one cameraman by ringside. Who else is it going to be? It's Randy Orton. So he had an RKO out of nowhere. The match didn't start yet. Edge got back up. He ate another RKO. He got up to like 7 or 8. And then they brawled in the ring for a little bit. And then they went outside. They went over the barrier. They went behind. They went to the gym. At one point, Orton hung Edge in like a lifty thing, not like literally hung, but like under his armpit, and was like dangling, and he was kind of beating him up a little bit. He kept saying, "This is because I love you. This is for your own good," And then Edge just didn't get a lot of offense in the first like 10 minutes of the match, which is crazy. Eventually, Randy Orton picked up a dumbbell, right, or weight, and then Edge jumped up onto a bar and like kicked him through. So that was pretty cool. And then Edge kind of got the offense back. He went off the bar and did a seated senton onto a rolly chair. Then they went to the warehouse area and they were doing stuff in the warehouse. They had extra equipment back there. So they were like into boxes, into ladders, into extra steel steps, extra props and stuff. And then they eventually made it to a truck. There was a truck, and then there was a stack of boxes, and then a trailer. It was kind of like a video game. It's like Metal Gear Solid. But they get up to the truck, and so they're on the truck, and Orton hits Edge with a draping DDT off the cab onto the trailer. There was a cover. It didn't go straight to the trailer, but he hit the cover of the trailer. And then, so that was a 9 count, and then they made their way. Edge got up using the crates, so he got up to his feet, and then he climbed up to the trailer and just kind of died. Edge hit, or Orton hit. How did it go on the top of the trailer? I'm trying to think what happened. They fought out a little bit. Edge did hit a spear, and then he was going for a second spear and ran into an RKO on top of the trailer. Then Orton went back down, grabbed 2 steel chairs. What's gonna happen here? And then I think he hit another spear, if I remember correctly. But then the ending was he was down, and the ref started counting, and he got to 7, and then Edge was like, "No, stop counting." And then he set up for a concerto, and then he started he brought himself back. He was crying a little bit. He was trying to gain his composure. He was debating what to do. And then hit a massive concerto, and then just stood right next to him and just waited for the count. He didn't celebrate, which was good. He just kind of kept his arms down, and he was like, "Whoa, oh, that took a lot out of me." So besides going a little long, it was a pretty solid match. I like how they used the Performance Center to what they had. You don't in a big arena. You could use the chairs. You can use in the football stadium. You can use the stuff, the ramp, and the chairs and tables and stuff, but. Here, they were limited to what they did, and they did it precisely. Oh, I forgot one move. They ended up in a conference room about halfway through the match, and Edge hit Orton onto the table. So it's a long table, and then there's like this long light, and then there's like chain link going on either side of the light. Edge literally climbs on the table, climbs up on, and then puts his feet up. Right, this is gonna be the thumbnail. And then he drops down and lands an elbow on Orton. And I think that should be his new gimmick. Spider Edge. Spider Edge. Spider Edge. Does whatever a Spider Edge can. He beats Orton in a last man standing match. You gotta look out for Spider Edge. So Spider Edge wins. And he gets a 10 count. They used the Performance Center for what it was. They used the equipment. They used just about everything. I mean, it was on top of a trailer in a warehouse is how the match ended. So that was pretty cool. So overall, ooh, I wonder if you can hear that on camera. But Edge won. Obviously, Edge was going to win. This was one of two matches me and Antonio both had. Because it's like, how does Edge not win this match, right? Next match to follow that was... Well, actually, a little bit happened. I'm not going to grade what happened. But basically, Mojo Rawley came out with Gronk on the perch of the performance. I had the PC perch. And a bunch of, like... It looked like NXT guys. Because I never recognize anyone. Like, I usually recognize, like, low mid-carders, but this is like a bunch of NXT guys are newly signed. They were chasing after Mojo, and Gronk was in the perch, and then they were fighting down below, and Gronk did the trust fall. Some people say they had someone else do the trust fall, it just dressed up as Gronk, and then they edited it to make it look like Gronk. I wouldn't be surprised if Gronk actually did it. He's that type of guy to just be like, yeah, if you get 15 guys to catch me, I'll do it. But, you know, it could go either way. I'm not saying one or the other. I personally don't think... I think it might have actually been Gronk, but some are just like, no, of course it's not Gronk. The way they shot it, it's obviously not. So, but he ended up falling on everyone. He pinned Mojo Rawley for the 3 count, and then he ran away with the 20... So Gronk's 24/7 champion. And then Titus O'Neil just hosted the last, like, 3 matches of WrestleMania. Like, but, like, random, you know. I love Titus O'Neil as a person, but it just came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you're the host of WrestleMania now. Like, it was kind of funny. But anyway, the matchup followed that segment. I'm not going to grade that segment. The matchup followed that, Street Profits versus Austin Theory and Angel Garza. It gets a so, mainly because, like, it didn't do much until the end. I'm going to get to the end in a second. It wasn't quite enough to save it and make it a yes, but it gets a so because it's one of those, like, obvious, like, Austin Theory wasn't going to win, and he's been on WWE for, like, 2 months. He's been on NXT, made his Raw debut, and then he's in a WrestleMania match because Andrade was injured. If Andrade was in this match, it might have been a little different because Andrade is a great performer, but... And it's not against Austin Theory, but he's just so young, and to throw him on a WrestleMania card for a tag team championships with a random partner, it's not even like they established a tag team. They had one other match. So it didn't really do much for anyone. Austin Theory didn't really, like, elevate. They didn't go long. It was only like a 10-minute match. They went back and forth. Garza still did the pants move, which was kind of funny. But then the match ended by Austin Theory hit his finisher, and he was lying across, like, this on Dawkins. So Dawkins is here on his back. Theory's just kind of draped on top of him. He's not going for like a cover or anything. He's draped on top. Montez Ford hits his crazy frog splash onto both of them, which is like, dude, you're gonna kill your partner. He hits both of them. Theory rolls over. Dawkins rolls over onto him. 1, 2, 3. They win. They retain the tag team champions. Yay! Everybody saw that coming. Then the guys, Garza started beating up Dawkins. I think they threw Ford out of the ring and started beating up Dawkins. And then so they beat him up, and then they held him on his knees. And Zelina Vega actually super kicked him. And then who comes and makes a save? Bianca Belair. So yeah. Bianca Belair's on Raw now, I guess. Like, I mean, it was cool to see Bianca Belair, like, on Raw and on WrestleMania and, you know, save her husband. I guess they're going to be public now. They kind of don't really play it off in storyline, you know, they acknowledge it on social media, but storyline-wise, they don't really say that her and Montez Ford are married, so I guess they're going to establish that now. But maybe get a feud with Zelina Vega. Maybe she'll start wrestling again. So, yeah. I mean, it gets a so because of what happens, but it was fine. It wasn't bad. It's just like, it didn't really do anything for anyone besides debut Belair, you know? So, it just, yeah. So I think that's 2 so's on this show. Our next match was the Women's SmackDown Championship match, SmackDown Women's Championship match. And it was 5-way. And earlier there was a backstage interview with Bayley and Sasha. And Bayley was like, hey, Kayla. Best specs. I miss the Iconics. But Bayley goes out and says, hey, Kayla, shut up. Everybody's been doubting me, and I still am champ, so shut up. And then they start to walk away. It's her and Sasha Banks, and then Sasha Banks, Kayla, Bayley, Sasha, all these, I can't say, I talk too fast. Kayla said, hey, Sasha, you know, you never held the SmackDown. You held Raw, and you held NXT, and you held the tag team, but you never held SmackDown Women's Championship. Like, is that in your mind? And she's like, well, we'll just wait and see. So the match came on. It was, Tamina was well protected, surprisingly. So it was Tamina, Lacey Evans, Naomi, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. And all of them attacked Bayley. They did some Tamina, and they did some double teams, and she kept kicking out at one, and then eventually they all hit their finisher. I think Bayley hit her, like, bulldog thing, and then Lacey Evans hit a moonsault, and then Naomi hit the split-legged moonsault, and I think Sasha hit a backcracker to start it all off, and then they pinned. It was all of them gathered, all 4 of them on Tamina. So it's kind of weird to book Tamina pretty strong when she doesn't wrestle ever and is pretty bad in the ring. So that was a shock to me. And then Naomi ended up tapping to Sasha. At one point I actually thought Lacey Evans was eliminated because I didn't see her in the ring for like 5 straight minutes, and when there's 4 women in the match, you would think one of them, like, I would see Lacey Evans somewhere, but she tapped. She was my pick to win too, so, but don't worry, it's okay. She was my pick to win, Naomi, because I thought there'd be like a rift between Bayley and Sasha, and they both lose it. So, but then the story was Sasha all night long. They're all night long, all Banks long. They were hyping it up through commentary. They did the backstage interview, and they're like, oh, Sasha. So it was down to Sasha, Lacey Evans, and Bayley. And Jovio had Lacey Evans, and that'll come in later. But she ended up accidentally. She was going for. I think Sasha was going for Lacey Evans. She ducked out of the way. She hit Bayley, and then Bayley fell down, and then Lacey Evans hit her with the woman's right. And Bayley was still in the ring, but she didn't. She was like sitting on her legs against the ropes, or on her butt against the ropes, and she didn't go for the pin, or the breakup, you know. And I know it's an elimination match and it's your championship, but it's kind of heelless to not save your best friend and just have, you know. But they hooked that up later after the match. So Lacey Evans tapped, or no, she pinned Sasha. Yes. And then it was just down to Lacey Evans and Bayley. They fought for a little while. They went back and forth, but then Sasha came back in, attacked Lacey Evans, beat her up a little bit. Bayley hit her finisher, and then it was kind of like, oh, Sasha's hanging in the belt. She can hit her. She's gonna turn, and then she put her on her waist, and Bayley celebrated. It gets a maybe because of this teasing with the Sasha storyline. It is kind of predictable, but predictable isn't always wrong. You know, maybe that's the right way to do it. Maybe you need to turn Sasha this Friday, you know, the SmackDown after WrestleMania, and start a new feud. Or maybe she holds it for another month. Maybe Sasha cashes in Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank's only about a month away. We'll see what happens. I might be there. Probably not with everything going on, but I'm hoping to be there. But yeah, so maybe Sasha wins. So we get some maybe. The overall match was for a 5-way elimination match, you know, before these 2 massive matches, which we will get to. Oh man. We will. It's fine. It gets a maybe because, like I said, they planted some seeds for Sasha turn. They made Lacey Evans look good. They made Tamina look good. Naomi got a lot of good offense in, but ended up tapping. So uh, the next match was the best match in WrestleMania history. There, I said it. I was dying, and I was watching with my two roommates who haven't watched since the early '90s or late '90s, early 2000s, and it was just wow. I can't explain how awesome this match was, and all the references and all the Easter eggs and the way they did it. It was a Firefly Funhouse match between John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Cena came out in the Performance Center and he did his entrance, and then in the entrance, it kind of cut to the Funhouse, and Bray Wyatt said something and he went through the door. So it was a door and a window, and the doll, Abby, the doll, was in the window, and I was like, dun, dun, dun. And then Rebel Rabbit came out. He's like, hey, dude. Like, you gotta enter the match through that door. He's like, good luck. That's where Bray went. You look for him, right, dude? Good luck, dude. That's my Rambling Rabbit impression. I don't even know if I can cover everything. This was 20 minutes of pure euphoria. It was Cena went through the door, and then Cena went through the door, and he entered the Twilight Zone, basically. They basically went through Cena's career and said where he went wrong. So they flash back to the prototype, and Wyatt impersonated Kurt Angle. He's like, if anybody's out there, and they flash the Kurt Angle clips over the Bray Wyatt clip, over Bray Wyatt doing it, and the SmackDown Fist came back, and he's in his prototype outfit, and it's orange and blue for the Gators, even though University of Central Florida is in Orlando. That would have made a little more sense, but whatever. It's only an hour and a half drive to Gator, to the swamp. But semantics. Comes out in the prototype effort. He's like, ruthless aggression, and he slaps, and Bray Wyatt ducks. He's like, you really thought that would work? And he tries again. He's like, ruthless aggression, and he ducks again. And Wyatt comes up, and he goes, you can look, but you can't touch. And I lost it. I lost it there, and that was one of many times I lost it, because that's Nikki Bella going right back at it. So he hits him again, and then he disappears, and they flash back to I think it was WrestleMania 30 that they ended up going to. No, they did rapper Cena, and then he rapped some lines. He referred to Husky Harris. He did some dirty stuff. He called him a slut on TV. He was like, you're a slut for the game. And all this stuff where it's slut for attention. Oh my god, just watch it and get it right. But they did that scene, and then they did the to the next thing, and that was the Rise Above Hate and the whole thing, and they flashed back to, oh no, before they got there, they did WCW, and I was like, where is this going? And it was Bray, Eric Bischoff, Wyatt, and they did the same thing with Angle, where he said the same thing Eric Bischoff said when Hollywood Hogan came out, and John Cena came out as Hollywood Cena in the NWO and the spray painted WWE belt. They didn't use the World Heavyweight Championship belt, but they WWE belt and spray painted, and he's doing the air guitar with the belt, and they did an 80s throwback, and they did the 80s workout. Right? Wait, no, that was WCW. He came out as heel, and I got this all mixed up, but I don't know if I got the order right. But then they did an 80s flashback to Saturday Night Main Event. And Bray Wyatt was Hulk Hogan, and John Cena was Macho Man, and he called him Jonathan Big Meats, and he started working his arms, but he worked them so hard he couldn't throw. He's trying to throw punches, but he can't use his arms. and then they flash forward to, I know it's very frantic, and I'm trying to get everything in, and that's how I felt watching it. Just watch it. And then they ended with the WrestleMania 30, that the whole infamous Cena should have gone over and pushed Bray, and that's the whole star of his downfall. And they did the Rise Above Hate, and they threw him the steel chair, and Bray Wyatt was in his classic Bray Wyatt clothes, and then they flashed out of it, and Cena took a chair and went for it, and he disappeared, and then Ramblin' Rabbit was in the ring, so he started punching Ramblin' Rabbit and going all heel. And then you found out it was Rabbit, and he's like, oh man, what did I do? And the Fiend comes up behind him and Mandible Claws him, and then gets him down to the ring. He didn't Sister Abigail, but he Mandible Claws, gets him down to the ring, and then Bray Wyatt. So the Fiend is covering John Cena, and then Bray Wyatt counts to 3. And it was Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was fantastic. And also, they referenced good shit from Dean Ambrose's podcast on Talking Jericho. They referenced that. They did Puppet Vince and Puppet Mercy after the WCW like skit, and Puppet Vince goes, "This is good shit." Like legit said that on WrestleMania, and I'm just like, how did this like what? Okay, so this is gonna be a long video. Holy crap! One more match. I just don't. It's just okay. Bray Wyatt deserves all the credit in the world for pushing himself this far. Vince deserves all the credit in the world for doing this on WrestleMania. John Cena deserves all the credit in the world for going with all this, making fun of himself and the Bellas and the going back to stuff and the heel turn and the meta references and doing all this stuff with Bray Wyatt. He deserves just as much. Well, not just as much. Bray deserves like 90% of the credit, but Vince and John Cena deserves some credit too. And it's just watch it. It gets a. I don't have a super big reward yet for my yes. It gets a mega yes, super yes. It gets an amazing yes. It gets. Just watch it. Just watch it. And our last match, our last match was Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar, and I was like, good luck following the Firefly Fun match. Lesnar something happened. He kicked him in the gut, and then hit a few suplexes, hit him with an F5, and then he kicked out at 1, and even Brock was like, what? So he kicked out at 1. He hit him with another F5. Kicked out at 2, but not 2.5, like legit 2, just 1, 2 kick out, not 1, 2 kick out. So hit him with a third F5, kicked out at like 2 7/8, like 2.999. So Heyman was like, just keep doing it. He goes up for a fourth F5. He kind of wriggles out, hits him with a Claymore. He pushes, gets some hope, hits him with the Claymore, goes in the corner, does a charged up Claymore. And then hits him with a third Claymore. 1, 2, 3, new champ Drew McIntyre. And it was a good match. It was a quick match. It was only like 5 minutes. If that, in my one room, it was like, wow, I thought it was going to go longer. But it did what it needed to do. It made Drew look strong. It made Brock, stay strong. Paul Heyman yelled a lot. And Drew's WWE champ. He's the first UK champ ever. He's one of 5 current UK champs in WWE, even though 3 of them are in NXT UK, or 5 Scottish champs, not British. 5 Scottish champs. He's the first UK champ in WWE history. First WWE UK champ. First WWE championship from the UK. Like, and it's great, and he deserves it. He's hot. He can hold this belt honestly for another year, and I would not be upset if he just keeps getting more popular and more popular. He slayed Brock. He might have maybe raise up a few mid-card guys with a few mid-card matches, and then SummerSlam have a huge match with somebody. We'll see how popular people are. Him versus Monday Night Messiah at SummerSlam might be interesting. It just gets a yes. It gets a yes. I mean, overall, it was a good show. A couple shows, I felt like night 2 dragged a little more than night 1. Like, night 1, I felt like, it was like 10 o'clock and it was over, and I was like, wow, that sped by. This one ended at like 10:30, and I was like, it kind of went a little long, kind of dragged a little bit. But the results were great, and I gotta give WWE all the credit in the world for putting on a really good WrestleMania. I'm a little upset the fans weren't there to experience it. But it was a good show, and hopefully they keep this 2-night format more often, even if it's in the stadium for 2 nights. It's good, so keep it up. So that's my review. Yes, no, maybe so. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. Me and Anchovy had a prediction. The loser buys it the winner. A meal of his choice. I was down by 2. I forgot about the Firefly Fun match. I was down by 2 going into the women's match, SmackDown women's match. Number right, so I was like, oh, I'm down by 2. I need Naomi to win and McIntyre to win. I was pretty confident in McIntyre. So Naomi tapped, but then Lacey also lost. And then it was the Firefly Funhouse match. And I needed The Feed in the Wind and McIntyre to win because Chovio had Cena and Lesnar. And I ended up winning. I made a comeback. I was down 2 with 2 matches to go, and I made the comeback. I won. Yay! So, I'm the first ever ring squad champion. So awkward outro it is. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you thought of Wrestlemania. If you agree, disagree, like, share, comment what you think. You know, what do you think they should do this more often? How do you think the matches went? Whatever you want to tell me. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Squadcast. Follow me at Kinsella Comedy. Like I said, we're still working on the other social media, so be on the lookout for that. We are on Patreon as well, but during these times, I'm not expecting a lot. I set it up so it's there. If you want to donate, go for it, but I'm not expecting a lot. I'd rather you guys be safe. I can keep doing this without Patreon, but just enjoy the WrestleMania. It was a good show, so I'm looking forward to Raw tonight, the Raw after WrestleMania. Ooh, anything can happen. And be on the lookout for more videos, more fantasy booking videos. Starting a new series called It Needs to Be Said. You know, maybe some things that people just don't realize about wrestling. Be on the lookout for those. Like these videos, share these videos, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay with Ring Squad. I've been Tim. I'm a little out of breath. The Firefly Fun did me in. And I'll talk to you guys soon. See you next time. Bye.